When I first embarked on the Peranakan collection, the very first thing that I worked on is actually old pieces of Peranakan jewellery. And my purpose then was to how do I perpetuate interest as well as demand for the old Peranakan jewellery, because they were all so beautiful to look at, and very iconic of Peranakan and also what Penang is, because it's all tied together. But when I actually look at people actually wearing it, there's actually very little demand. People don't wear the kebaya of the Nonya as a daily thing anymore, and it's probably only for certain functions that people wear. Maybe fear of robbery and all that. People have replaced the real jewelry with costume jewelry from Korea. So all the Peranakan jewelry that I see on the Nonya ladies at the very few functions that they attend are all imitation jewelry. So that was actually very disheartening. It's like, oh, we have such a great heritage, we have such a great iconic designs from the past, which we are slowly losing by the second. So my first brief to myself was that I want to preserve this. But how do I preserve it and create a demand for it? I realized that one of the ways is that we have to keep up with the times. We have to keep up with what is current, match it together with the past, and come up with something that works for both. So I told myself, I have to change the way the jewelry are worn, give it a new spin. Instead of being worn as a kerongsang, or kerongsang is the Malay word for brooch, instead of being worn as a brooch, how about using the same design but making it into a necklace? People can continue to enjoy this iconic design, but with a different purpose. Also with the modern day clothing that they can complement it with, That was my very first brief to myself. But before that, I told myself, I don't want to do a shoddy job of this, I don't want to do a stylized version of the kerongsang. I don't want to water it down, which means I have to do it like the old style, which is very challenging. So I bought myself some old pieces, and then I study them, take them apart, and try to make the pieces again. And so that was my first venture into this, how to do it like the old craftsmen. There weren't many people around to ask for information, because in fact actually there were none. So you have to buy to gain the knowledge, Bit by bit I can piece things together and manage to actually assemble a piece that really looks like the old style, because I followed very closely to the original. The only difference is that it has a different purpose. It can be worn as a pendant, it can be worn as a necklace. That saw quite a bit of interest from not just the local community, but also foreigners, expatriates who are living here. They found it interesting because they would never actually wear the real thing, because look, they are blonde and white, so it will look a bit funny, right? If they were to wear the real costume on. But if I repurpose it, they like the design of the kerongsang, but as a necklace, and they can still wear their modern day clothing. It is something that works for them. So I managed to actually generate a demand and also a niche market, so to speak, for this type of jewelry. They look old, they look Peranakan, but they have a different function and purpose. That was my first venture into this collection. Later on, I actually developed other aspects of the Peranakan that I find myself going through. I was interested in the facades of the old pre-war houses that you only find in Penang. So I started to develop doors and also windows and houses as the architectural aspect of it. And then later on, I developed a series, borrowed a little bit from Pandora. Pandora is like charms that they can add on. So this collection has a lot of charms that are made from miniatures of iconic Peranakan items. When I was looking at the old Peranakan houses, which I liked, the facade, and which I developed, one of the features that fascinated me was the stucco on the walls that were cut clay pieces, if I'm not mistaken. You know the house, the panel on top of the Huan's house, they have phoenix, they have bats, pottery actually, they are pottery. Pottery pieces that are cut up and then reassembled. Those colorful cut porcelain pieces that you see on the panel of the exterior of the old Peranakan houses, they really fascinated me a lot. I was actually impressed by a phoenix that is actually floating on, that is made out of the porcelain. I decided that that would actually translate very nicely into a piece of jewellery. And yeah, before you know it, I have a full collection of phoenixes that is spurred on by this. So actually, they are all interconnected, the collections. You know, one thing that led to another. I'm never sure what I'm going to develop next, but the thing is that they are all connected in one way or another. Surprisingly, the pandemic actually has yielded new designs that I have never thought that I would actually do, or rather never thought that I could do. So I'm not to say proud of them, but I felt that I have actually grown as a jeweler, and also grown in a time where you think no growth would happen. You know, yeah, it's during the pandemic that I actually developed for each of the collection. So you have for the coral collection, I developed an entire underwater landscape and captured it into a piece of necklace. Yeah, so in that necklace itself, you have corals, you have fishes. That's all iconic, you know, and can be found in one entire necklace. For the botanical series, I have an entire garden that can be found in one necklace. So you have the flora and also fauna. Some of the pieces I made that were also in conjunction with exhibitions that are held in our state gallery. So I did a necklace that is showing the forest with the langurs. You can have an entire jungle in one necklace. And to complete the thing, I did a crazy idea with the Peranakan. I wanted all the eating utensils all haphazardly jumbled up into a necklace. That was last year. My thought processes is actually very simple. I have to be inspired. Once I have the inspiration, it is very fast. The thought processes only I understand. Okay? Sometimes I make my craftsmen very dizzy because they come fast and furious. Okay? So once it happens very fast. It's not even a process, it's like a flash. So once it's inspired, so it's never a very contrived process where you sit down and decide that you want to do this and then you plan to do this. No, it doesn't happen like that for me. So mine is like, once I'm inspired, it just go. Yeah, and I don't stop it because I don't want to stop it because I want to see the end result of what happens when that happens. Sometimes it goes nowhere. Sometimes it is like, wow, I never thought that could happen. Yeah, so that's what happened to me.